Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed Live from Los Angeles. We made it. We're here for Friday. I'm Jason McIntyre. He's Greg Jennings. Over here, Rob Parker. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Fired
What's
up?
happening? Oh,
Fired
my
up?
goodness, yes.
Get a little something. Let me get.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Got to watch some preseason football. Wow, I saw a lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff.
Ahead on the show, did the Lakers' championship hopes take a major hit? And Zeke is looking fit, but will it matter? But we're going to start with the number one pick. Folks, the hype train lost some steam for Kyler Murray last night. After an impressive 6-for-7 debut last week, Kyler struggled big time against the Raiders last night. Murray certainly looked like a rookie on the field. He was 3 for 8 for 12 passing yards, was sacked twice, once for a safety. He also drew 3 flags, 1 delay a game, and 2 false starts. After the game, Kyler admitted he didn't look good, but also chalked it up to it being only the preseason.
It obviously wasn't as, polished as we would like it to be, but, I mean, it's a learning experience. I mean, it's football. We didn't look as good as we would like to look, but it's a preseason. This is why it's the preseason. It's just tough because, we're not playing a whole game. And it's I don't want to say it's not real, but it's just, it's not the regular season. We're not doing everything that we're going to do. So that's why it's kind of, it gets frustrating, but at the same time, it's preseason. So,
Greg Jennings, how concerned are you about that generational talent you spoke about yesterday, Kyler Murray?
I figured you would throw that out there.
Had to.
You know what? I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned at all. What I'm excited about is what I heard post-game. He's not rattled about his performance. He understands there's a progression to this thing. Second preseason game, you're going to get some different looks, and he definitely got some different looks thrown at him. And so did his rookie head coach, Cliff Kingsbury. And let's just look at the landscape of who this Arizona Cardinals team is and what Kyler Murray is inheriting as an offensive quarterback on that team. Passing yards last season, dead last. Rushing yards, which we know that helps out a quarterback, takes a little bit of pressure off the quarterback, dead last. Total offense, dead last. Points per game, 14 points, dead last.
Greg, that's why you get the number one overall pick.
It is why you get the number one
something?
overall pick. In giveaways, they were 27. So let's understand what this young man is inheriting. He understands that. He understands it's going to be a process. But what I like about him is he's going to make this team better. I guarantee when we sit here at the end of this season, we won't be talking about the Arizona Cardinals being dead last in these categories because of what he provides. His ability to, again, as I mentioned before, escape, elude tackles. We saw it last night. We obviously saw some pressure that he has to then get rid of the ball, but he needs help. It can't be all about Kyler Murray, and that's what it's looking like it's going to be. So this offense, as highly exciting as it is and it's been in the college game, the one thing about the pro game is if you can't make it work, if teams see that there's any kink where they can expose it, they're going to expose it. Teams are going to jump right on and do this. But I still am high on Kyler Murray. I think he has a bright, bright future. They got to get some pieces around him, and they got to protect him.
After watching Kyler Murray's game last night, baseball fans all over America were excited. He went 3 for 8. He's on his way to the Baseball Hall of Fame, but unfortunately we realized it was football, and he looked more like a Pop Warner quarterback, just not as big. So let's just be honest, Greg.
Wow. That's a low blow.
I'm just
saying.
That was bad last night. And you could talk about the past, last year, what's wrong with the Cardinals. We all got that. But to watch him, especially after the general manager, Keim, was talking about this generational talent, and to see him, he looked out of place. He didn't look like that guy And I know it's an exhibition game. I know it's only his second game. I'm not saying he's a bust or he's not going to be able to play in this league. That's not what I'm saying. But I'll tell you, when you watched, you just said, I don't know. I'm not convinced. And I think that's why a lot of other teams pushed off on him, because you're not convinced, Greg. You might be, and maybe a couple other guys, but most people got validated last night. Whether it's fair or not, they looked and they said, this is why I couldn't.
So, Rob, you're looking at 4 series where Kyler Murray had 14 total yards, and you're like, I don't know if he can be a quarterback.
No,
in the preseason?
This is my problem. If he lit it up last night, people would validate him and say, see?
Generational talent.
Generational talent if he lit it up. So you can't have it both ways. If you play well and everybody lifts you up and says, see, you're wrong, you don't know about Kyler Murray. But now if you're playing out there and you're talking about being elusive, he got sacked a few times, he was flushed out, they were all over him, and he didn't know what to do with the football. I didn't see the poise that people were talking about, not last night. He was under duress, which is natural.
But why can't you have it both ways? Why can't there be nuance? And you say, you know what, I'm concerned about this guy behind that awful offensive line, but ultimately he could be okay. This is like when you plant seeds to plant, like, you know, a tomato tree in your yard. You don't wake up the next morning and expect stuff to be sprouting instantly. This takes time. You got to nurture it.
I get it.
But I don't want you to sell Kyler Murray short. Again, it is early.
I'm not. But I'm just saying, had he had a great night, it would be the other way. And you wouldn't discount a great night in a preseason game, right? You wouldn't discount it if he plays well. Do not discount it when he plays poorly, is all I'm saying. Don't discount it.
We're not discounting the fact that he played poorly. What I'm saying is, let's not put all the eggs in one game and say that this is who he is.
I didn't say that.
No, well, this is what you're acting like. We're saying, are you concerned? And you're saying, yes, you're concerned because of one game. Yes, if he had had success last night, we would have been excited in saying, this is what we can expect in the regular season. But when we see him play like this, it's more than just about him, because we saw him, as you mentioned, under duress.
But this is why he won't be, he has a chance not to be that special generation player, because of all the stuff you talked about. The reason why Josh Rosen couldn't be a good player, because the team is bad. It's going to hold him back, Greg. He won't be able to blossom and be that guy, because he'll be under duress, because they can't run the football, because of all these things.
Rob, here's the counter.
That will be the reason why.
This is the counter. We had Jeff Fisher on this set Monday, okay? Jeff Fisher coached Jared Goff in his first year with the Rams. Jared Goff's rookie year, he was 0 for 7. 0 wins, 7 losses, 54% completions. I was coming on these shows here on FS1, and everybody on the set, Jared Goff is a bust. Oh, my goodness. Buyer's remorse, #1 pick. This guy can't play. Jared Goff gets a new coach, works into a new offense. Jared Goff takes the Rams to the Super Bowl.
Difference is Jared Goff, they have good players on the Rams.
Well, you can't. You think they're going
to? Might not have had the right offensive game plan, and we know he struggled doing that. All I'm saying to you is, the Cardinals are not the Rams. The Rams have really good players. Well, and once he got a coach in that could use his ability, all I'm saying is the Cardinals are a really bad team, and Greg laid it out. Kyler Murray, given all the other stuff that he has to deal with and try to prove to people that he is that guy, is going to be tougher, and we saw it last night because it's a bad football.
But so were the Jets last year with Sam Darnold.
No,
almost
they're not that bad. They're not that bad. Greg laid it out.
They're bad. No, I got more for you, Greg.
They're a really bad football team.
Patrick Peterson, their star cornerback. He's out for the first 6 games. Their #2 cornerback, Alford, the guy they signed in the offseason, who, by the way, gave up the most receiving yards in the league last year. He's hurt and out for a couple months. This defense is going to be bad. Rookie coach, rookie quarterback. Greg, this is a 2 or 3 win team, but I'm not concerned about Kyler Murray. You're not either, right?
Yeah, I'm not concerned about Kyler Murray because of the process. And #1, when you look at teams that are bad, you have to start, what we start to do is start to pick out what's good about those teams. Kyler Murray is going to be what is good, what is promising, what is the future about the Arizona Cardinals. So we can't just throw all the bad on his shoulders and say, look, bring us to prominence, make us relevant again. That will happen eventually. But what the upper management has to do is plug in pieces around this young man. If you're so sold on him about being the generational talent that I believe he can be and that you say that he already is, then you have to do that to protect him. You can't put him out there and playing this college-style offense with this spread with 3, 4, 5 receivers out on the field and your tackles on the islands with the rushers that we have in this National Football League. Your quarterback is going to suffer. He's going to be under duress. And again, another stat that I didn't even mention, they were on third down, which is money down as we call it, 32nd, again, dead last. Like, you cannot have success when you're putting your quarterback in situations, as we saw last night, even with him, with the snap count and him motioning and the false starts being called for those things, but being in third and long, and you're not going to give your tackles help, and you understand teams are going to be high pressure in third down situations, you can't put your young quarterback in
Greg, this
situations.
offensive line gave up 22 sacks last year in December. That's more sacks than the Patriots allowed all season, the Saints, the Colts. This is a bad line. And I just one other note that it just kind of annoys me, but the media and the fans love offense. We know that, right? Oh, Cliff Kingsbury, he's an offensive genius. He didn't win jack squat at the college level. Fun offensive guy. Kyler Murray puts up great numbers, setting records in college football. Look at the trenches on this team. Look at the defense. They're not going to win anything. People that are excited about the Cardinals, folks, this is a 3 or 4 win team at best. They have a mountain to climb. I don't care how generational Kyler Murray is.
But if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan or a follower, or you're just the novice football watcher, you understand that the game is won with scoring points and who wins, who has the most points. But if you don't have what's established as a foundation, and we know that to be the trenches, both on the offensive line and defensive line, you have absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter how great David Johnson potential is, how Larry Fitzgerald, how a young receiver on the outside and Keyshawn Johnson may be up and coming, or your star in Kyler Murray. That is negated when you don't have what it takes to firm a wall or a foundation to support what you have.
That's my concern is that, Kyler won't be able to blossom into that player that a lot of people think he is or will be because of the team being as poor as it is. It's going to stump his growth.
No, I would say it would stunt his growth if he wasn't as elusive and he couldn't extend plays and he was just a sitting duck in the backfield, in the pocket. But that's not who he is. What I believe he's going to have to do, and he will get even better at, is learning that I'm going to have to escape. We're going to have to start moving the pocket around from Cliff Kingsbury's perspective, shifting, moving, having quarterback movements, sliding the protection so we can get our quarterback on the move. And then he's going to have to become even more accurate moving outside the pocket. That's what I saw last night that was a little like, okay, you gotta make better throws. Even when you know you're under duress, this is going to be the case all year if this is the style of offense they choose to play.
And historically in the league, quarterbacks who are young as a rookie, they tend to struggle, but year 2 they make the leap. You look, Deshaun Watson made a big leap in year 2. People expect it from Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. You look around the league, you got to be patient, Rob. I know there's going to be moments where Kyler Murray, he might get benched at times this season. It's going to be a long up.
I don't see that at all.
Hey, I'm telling you, he is a tiny quarterback. Did you see those hits he's taken?
I don't see that. I really don't.
If he's a generational talent, you don't want him getting knocked out.
He's not. Look, what was promising, if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan again, is you understand he's going to be under duress, but he is mindful of that. The safety that he took, his ability to just get down and not take the hit, that is promising. That is a quarterback that understands, look, I'm not going to stand back here and just let you tee off on me every chance you get. I'm smart enough to use my legs when I need to, but again, smart enough also to get down. That's things that guys like Lamar Jackson struggle with that we're not going to see in year one from Kyler Murray because he understands how important he is to his team.
So, Rob, finally, reasonable expectations for Murray this season. I mean, can he throw for 3,000 yards? They're going to be playing from behind in every game, it feels like this season.
Yeah, I mean, sure, because if they're down, you know how this is. If you're down 25 points or whatever, the defense will let you throw in front of them, so there'll be, yards. They want you to move the clock and move the ball. They just don't want you to go over top of them.
Right.
So he'll be able to put up some numbers because they will be down. It's going to be a bad year, bad football team, and hopefully he doesn't get hurt too much. But if I was a Cardinals fan after watching last night, I have some doubts on just how good
on Kyler Murray.
Yes, I do. I have doubts on how good he's going to be, especially with the team around him. And that's what I'm worried about, Greg, is that his ability won't be. If he was on a better team, you might be able to see this guy blossom right away because he has that kind of talent. Here, he could be pushed back or delayed because he won't be able to do what it is that he does.
So, I mean, your concern isn't with Kyler Murray then. It's
No,
just
it is with Kyler Murray.
No, it's not.
Yes,
You're
it
saying
is.
that your concern is with the personnel around
Yeah, but
him.
I'm saying, but that's going to limit him and his development. I've already was on a question mark on if this was the right pick and on whether or not he's going to be successful in the NFL already. And now you're showing me he's going to be on a bad team trying to prove that he could play in this league.
Okay.
I have questions about
Are we
Kyler.
starting that hashtag this early?
I'm starting the hashtag this early.
this early.
Hashtag inconsistent Rob, because initially when you started your argument, you said, I'm not trying to poo-poo Kyler Murray. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but I'm saying he's going to struggle. So you're saying he's going to struggle based on what I'm giving you as far as what is real, the personnel around him. It has nothing to do with his talent.
No, I don't know.
And what
I'm
he's
not
going
saying
to
that.
provide.
No, I'm not saying that.
So
I watched him last night. I saw him miss throws. I just have to see more, Greg. All I'm saying is there have been so many great college quarterbacks who could not play on the next level. Tim Tebow, and I'm not saying he's Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow was a big-time college quarterback.
One of the best college quarterbacks in the last 25 years.
Ever. And he couldn't make it in that league. And
That's because this is a throwing league. We've never had questions
Did Tim
about.
Tebow not throw the ball in college?
No, he didn't.
Never threw the ball in college?
He didn't. Do you see any highlights where he's throwing the ball?
All I'm saying
that
is
Pittsburgh Steelers playoff game.
I don't. But that's the thing. We're not questioning can Kyler Murray throw the ball. We're not questioning that. We understand who he is as a dual threat quarterback, but at first, primarily as a passing quarterback.
Greg, only thing is you can't have it both ways. He's generational. He's this the hotness in the NFL.
But he can't have a bad night.
No, he can't have a bad night. But I'm just saying, here's the problem. If he has a great night, you would be up here beating your chest talking about.
I was right.
He's
a
Not at all.
He's that guy.
That's not Jennings' style, though.
Not at all.
That's
Not
more
And
my
then
style.
we got to see him. He looked very mortal to me. He did not look like a generational player. I didn't go away from that going, nothing to worry about Kyler Murray. This is just about the Cardinals at all. I saw him miss throws. I saw him be under duress and not know what to do or not where to go and throw the ball around the field. I just wasn't that impressed by him last night.
I'm not going to give him a complete pass. But what I'm saying and what I saw last night, it was not just based on his talent and what he can provide. It was based on the personnel around him and what he was working with. He was under duress, as we continue to mention. So you can't sit here and tell me that my concern should be with Kyler Murray and what his talent will provide versus more so than the Cardinals personnel that they've established around him.
Off that game, if you were on the fence of buying Cardinal season tickets, would you have run out and gone online and bought season tickets last night?
Stop. I'm not buying Cardinal season tickets.
Buy low, baby. You got to buy low. Come on, that's an opportunity. You know business.
After that game, if somebody put 2 Cardinal tickets out on your windshield like that day, and you went in and came back out from the store, there would be 4 tickets out there. That's how bad it was.
If I'm the owner,
I need 2 more.
I
There's
will
6 in
say
my
to
family.
Greg made a good point. Listen, this is one of the worst rosters in the league, Rob. There's not a lot of talent around Kyler Murray. If I'm the owner, I'm already looking to who am I going to handpick as my next GM. Hopefully somebody that can identify talent. All right, folks. Did the Lakers' title hopes just go down the drain?
What?
Rob Parker thinks so. That's next. And don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports Channel on Sirius XM. We'll be right back.
No mercy.
Hey guys, Jenny Taft here to tell you a bit more about 23andMe. Sure, DNA testing can tell you about where your ancestors are from, but did you know it could also give you a lot of genetic information about your health and traits? Understand more about yourself today and inform how you live your life going forward. 23andMe tracks many conditions such as harmful blood clots. Some F2, F5 genes help you stop bleeding if you get hurt, while other versions of these genes can also increase the risk for harmful blood clots. 23andMe also tracks hereditary breast and ovarian cancer. There are thousands of BRCA variations that can increase the risk for certain cancers. Both men and women can be affected. 23andMe reports do not diagnose disease or describe overall likelihood of developing any disease. 23andMe tests selected genetic variants only. Visit 23andme.com/undisputed for important test information. Order your health and ancestry kit at 23andme.com/undisputed, and you can meet your genes in 125 personalized genetic reports. That's the number 23andme.com/undisputed. 23andme.com/undisputed.
No mercy.
Injuries continue to plague DeMarcus Cousins. Boogie tore his ACL yesterday while training in Vegas. He had already suffered an Achilles tear and a quadriceps tear in the past 2 years. Boogie signed a 1-year, $3.5 million deal with the Lakers this offseason. He was supposed to bolster a front court for the Lakers alongside Anthony Davis and help LeBron reach the playoffs. Whether or not Boogie will be available at all for the upcoming season is unknown. Rob Parker, does Boogie's injury hurt the Lakers' title hopes?
I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment or sound the alarm.
But sound it.
But sound the alarm, Laker faithful. You know, Greg, people here in Los Angeles was doing the Boogie fever when they signed him. They just thought, what a perfect scenario. Boogie needs to reestablish himself. He's had nothing but injuries, right? He comes to the Lakers, has a chance to help LeBron and AD, maybe get to the finals, maybe win a championship, and then people would be like, oh, he's back, this is great. And instead, you wind up losing this guy, probably won't play the entire year. This is a big blow to the Lakers because I think that they thought they had gotten lucky in being able to pick him up, especially after the Kawhi deal fell through and they had to put together a roster because they were holding out and Boogie was still available. We all know that Boogie Cousins, numbers-wise, when he's healthy, is as good as anybody. This guy was averaging 27 and 12.
What, 3 years ago?
Yes, but I'm just saying, when he's
Last time
healthy.
he was healthy.
Right, when he's healthy, he's a great player. And he was on the verge in Sacramento of signing a big contract. That didn't happen. They wound up trading him in the last couple of years. And even this past year in the playoffs for Golden State. Remember, he came back from an injury, played well.
In one game.
In one game, gave them a lift, and then, of course, he got hurt again. But I think the Lakers are now a team that seems to be snake-bitten. Because if you look at last year and this year, LeBron got hurt for the first time, missed time last year. Also, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram. And don't forget, they have Anthony Davis now this year, who's missed 14 or more games, right, in 5 of his first 7 years in the NBA. So he's prone to be hurt as well. So when you start looking at all this stuff, you go, is this not just going to happen? LeBron's coming into year 17. This is a blow to the Lakers. And I think that they will not, NOT, have a shot at a championship without Boogie.
not have a shot at the title
yes.
because a role player got hurt. Okay,
Absolutely.
Greg Jennings, you're up.
This is not a blow to the Lakers' title hopes. This is a blow to Boogie Cousins. This is a huge blow.
So they
to
didn't
Boogie
need him.
Cousins.
They didn't need him at all.
Could they have used him? Of course. This is why you go out and you sign him on a one-year deal worth $3.5 million, because you know the potential that is there of what we've seen. You mentioned it, of what he can provide when healthy. But defensively, would he have made them a better team? No. No. So when I'm looking at the landscape of the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm not at all concerned. I'm more concerned for Boogie and his personal status, but the Lakers, no, you acquired Anthony Davis. That was your primary goal this offseason. Get another guy in here alongside of LeBron James that can be a superstar, that when LeBron James is on the bench, you keep Anthony Davis in and you still feel really good about your chances. You feel good that this team is still going to be productive on both ends of the court. So Boogie Cousins, although he could be a great addition, that's what he would have been. He would have been an addition. And mind you, you have a young Kyle Kuzma who is definitely up and coming, a budding star in this league who is averaging 18 points. You add in a Boogie Cousins that's healthy, who is going to require more touches. That takes away from the growth progression of a Kyle Kuzma. So I'm not saying that I'm excited that Boogie Cousins got hurt, because that is not at all the case here, but it doesn't hurt them. It actually will probably help them.
I'm not buying that. You sound like the typical Lakers fan. And 2 years ago, when Paul George turned down LeBron, who wants Paul George?
No.
What has he ever won? Wait a minute. And then when Kawhi, of course, also didn't want to come, we don't need Kawhi anyway. We got AD.
Who
and
needs
now,
Kawhi?
And now you sign Boogie, who had so much to prove and play for.
He did.
All right, he did. So you could have gotten lightning in a bottle where this guy's playing for his financial future and could have added so much to the Lakers. And now we don't really need Boogie. No.
The Warriors thought that he was going to be
And
playing
when he
for
played with
he
them,
got hurt.
And when he played for them and they put him in the starting lineup, they kept winning.
No,
they were playing
stop
great.
It, stop it.
They
Rob.
were playing great with
3, 4,
them.
5 years ago, DeMarcus Cousins was an awesome
They
player.
were playing well. Go look at the record when
he
was
played
playing.
30 games last year. He came back from injury, played 30 games, played well, got hurt again. Comes back, had the one
But
good
he
game in the
played
final.
well when he was in
as a
there.
role
He did.
player.
16
but
and 8.
He did.
16 and 8 as a role player on a stacked team where he's not asked to
He's
do
still
anything.
putting up numbers.
But
and my point was, with the Lakers, don't act like you didn't need him.
Well, I'll tell you
because
why
he's
they
hurt
don't
now.
need him.
No,
It's
they don't
coming.
need him.
As Greg wisely said, this is a guy who doesn't play defense. What does their new coach, Frank Vogel, preach? He's a defensive-first guy.
Oh, so you had no problem with LeBron's 27, 8, and 8 with no defense?
No.
Oh,
Did LeBron
stop
play
it. Come on.
defense
You
last
don't
year?
compare
No,
LeBron
let's-
to
let's
Did he
not
play
do that.
defense
Let's-
last
let's
year?
not do
I'm
that.
asking you.
And
buddy.
you've also forgotten the theme for the Lakers should have been last year: surround LeBron with shooters. Okay, that's what he needed. He didn't have any. So what'd they do? They went out and got Danny Green. They go out and they get Avery Bradley. They go out and get Anthony Davis, who can play the 5. And Anthony Davis is the key to this injury, because he's all along said, I don't want to play the 5. Well, Anthony Davis, I got some news for you, buddy. Hard choices, easy life, okay? You want easy choices? You got a hard life. He has always said, I want to play the 4. I don't want to bang with centers. That's not my thing. Hey, buddy, you got to bang with centers. You got to play the 5.
Lakers,
and
what
it's
the
their-
Lakers
They
got.
will be great with Anthony Davis at the 5, LeBron at the 4, and then the shooters. Cousins is a luxury coming off the bench. I feel bad for the guy.
A luxury for a team that didn't make the playoffs? Stop it.
He doesn't. Anthony Davis, let me clear this. He's better at the 4 position. He's not necessarily having to play the 5. If they so choose, they could put a JaVale McGee at the 5, who still can switch off. He can play smaller guys. He's athletic enough. We all know who JaVale McGee is, but he is a good player when he's in the right situation. And I think with these guys on the floor, JaVale McGee would fit in great. So to say that Anthony Davis has to play the 5, I don't think he has to play the 5. Will he need to?
Hold on,
Will he
Greg.
be asked to?
You're going to play
Yes.
JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis, and LeBron in a 3-and-D league?
What I'm saying is he doesn't have to play the 5, he being Anthony Davis, because you still have JaVale McGee on your roster.
I mean, I guess I can buy that. I don't see DeMarcus Cousins, if he were healthy, playing more than like 20 minutes a night with the Lakers.
I think he could have been a big addition, and I think that you're poo-pooing him, yes, and acting as if he didn't matter. The whole thing would have been, you don't know if you could have added him and this guy, just say he was healthy for a change.
Which he hasn't been in 3 years.
I get it,
Okay.
but I'm saying that's why you roll the dice in hoping that, say he's healthy, and this guy turns back into the player. He's not that old. He's not like he's 35 years old. Turns back into something closer to what we used to see from Boogie Cousins, and then all of a sudden the Lakers have something that they got on the cheap and is able to help them get to a championship.
Can you explain to him that the Lakers' 3 best players, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Kyle Kuzma.
Has Kyle Kuzma played in any big games in his career?
Not
just
yet.
Asking.
Not
No.
yet. But,
Zero.
But if you
Okay.
look at last
I
year,
like him.
you
I like
keep
him,
wanting to
but
live
he
in the
hasn't-
past for Boogie Cousins. 2 and 3 and 4 years ago, he was a transcendent
Are we
big
saying
man.
10 years ago or a couple years ago?
But again,
people get hurt. I
this
get
is his
it.
3rd major injury
I get it.
in 2 years. How do
But
you know
I'm
he's
saying
bouncing
if he
back?
was healthy, they were counting on him more than to just come in and stand around for 20 minutes.
I don't-
They were, but let's be honest. Like coming off of that Achilles injury, like we weren't expecting a ruptured Achilles. We're not expecting him to get back to where he once was. That is, if we look at Kevin Durant, like it's
Yeah.
going to be a long road for him to get back to where he once was. No one's gonna think all of us. The moment he steps back on the court, Kevin Durant is going to be 1, 2, 3 best player in the NBA.
Was Boogie playing in that game or was he standing on the sidelines? That where he got hurt. Was he playing?
Yeah, by the way, who was he playing against in that game?
No, but
and
my-
let me
my
ask,
point-
what
if
is
he
your
was
point?
such
My
a
point is that he was progressing to get back out there and be a cog for the Lakers.
Rob,
he
if,
wasn't on the
if he
sideline.
was, if Boogie Cousins was so good, how come the other 29 teams barely looked
I
at him?
just told you what he needs to do is reestablish himself. That gave him incentive to play hard, to play well, to prove that he deserves. This is a guy who lost $200 million in a deal. He's playing for his NBA
I
life.
agree with that.
He's playing. That's what.
But he could have done
and
that
that's
in
the
any other city.
No,
No
but that's the
teams-
great guy you want to have. Somebody who's playing for something, who's trying to prove that he still belongs and could be that player.
I agree with that. The same could be said last year when he was with the Warriors.
And he played well with them,
and he
Greg,
got
until
injured.
he got hurt.
So if you're bringing a guy like this on, you're not oblivious to the fact that of his history. Like he's been hurt.
Greg, when he
so
came
you
back-
automatically assume moving forward, if we don't have him, are we able to sustain and can we still reach our goals? You're not plugging in Boogie Cousins saying, man, Boogie Cousins is here.
20
we're
and 10,
good.
baby.
No, and you mentioned something earlier in one of your comments. You said, the Lakers weren't going to be expecting him to play big minutes. I 100% agree with that. Boogie Cousins is not a guy that you're going to put on the court for 35 plus minutes, 32
Nobody
plus minutes.
said 35. They could be effective minutes. And my
They
point-
can't-
So
They
how
might-
are the title hopes killed? Look at the screen. Does Boogie's injury kill the Lakers' title hopes? You said yes. A guy who's playing 18 minutes a night, the 4th best guy at best on the team, is killing their title.
They were looking for him to have where he could reset his career, where he could come back and be better than he was.
So
here we are. Last year, when he came to the Warriors, right? Did they put him on the end of the bench or did they start him with the Warriors? Where
They
did he play?
started him.
Why? Because they think that they could get something. He started. He wasn't a end of the bench player.
We're not saying he's a terrible player,
This is what I'm trying to tell you, acting
but
like he
you're-
didn't play. He
No,
didn't
but
start for the Warriors.
Yeah, who's
Rob,
their-
you're
He
saying
started.
that the title hopes are over. So you're telling me that LeBron is concerned right now?
Yeah.
LeBron is concerned.
LeBron
Anthony-
is at the barbershop right now in tears.
LeBron lost sleep last night over
in
this.
Vegas Summer League when we saw them playing. Was Boogie Cousins sitting next to LeBron? No. Who was sitting next to LeBron? Who did we see?
Is it Anthony Davis?
I think it was.
It might have been Anthony Davis.
This is who
I
they're
think.
counting on.
Yeah.
Like,
When they don't win the championship, I want to revisit.
Let's not
this.
all of a sudden think that there has to be this
I'm not-
big 3 for any team to have success. Like Michael Jordan didn't have 3; he had Pippen next to him.
That's why LeBron was holding out for Kawhi before he put this team together, because he knows he needs another guy, and he's not convinced that he has enough. That's why people were excited about the Boogie Cousins signing, because when he went to Golden State, what everybody said, the rich got richer. Do you remember when he signed?
Yes.
Everybody was like, this isn't fair. Oh my God, they got 5 All-Stars on one roster. Wait till Boogie Cousins start.
When
did
Boogie
Steve
got-
Kerr, did Steve Kerr go, He's a bench guy. We're not going to play.
When
Even when he came back in the playoffs, they started him immediately.
Rob
He's
Parker.
that player.
Rob Parker, when Boogie Cousins got hurt, when he was with the Warriors, were their playoff hopes and their title hopes just shattered?
Out the window.
The difference is
Were their title hopes shattered?
No, but the difference is LeBron and the Lakers didn't make the playoffs a year ago. Stop acting like they went to the Western Conference Finals. Okay, you have LeBron entering his 17th season. You got a lot of other question marks that this is not an automatic layup. I don't know why people think the Lakers are automatically going to the Western Conference Finals. Anthony Davis is a great player. LeBron is a great player. Other than that, there's some other question marks that still are out there. All I'm saying to you is
Last year,
I would like
he
the
doesn't like
Lakers
Kyle
better.
Kuzma.
I like Kyle Kuzma as a player, but he's a young player.
Last year, could we say that LeBron had another great player on his roster?
What? Last year?
Could we say that?
Kyle Kuzma, you just told me.
No.
What?
You didn't just list him in your great players.
You just told me.
Now
You
he's
said
a
you
great
like
player.
Kyle Kuzma.
Hashtag inconsistency.
You told me that Kyle
He's a
Kuzma.
good young player. He's their
I
third
said
best
he's
player.
a budding star in
Yeah.
this league, but a great player. Can we say that LeBron James had that last year?
KCP, wasn't he on the roster?
Can we say that he
all right.
had that last year?
No, he didn't have that.
Everywhere else he's been, with the exception of his first stint in Cleveland when he first entered the NBA, he didn't have a great player then, and he didn't have another great player alongside him last year.
That's the reason why they lost to all those bad teams at the end and didn't make the play. Is that why they lost?
Here.
Here we go.
I'm just
Right,
Greg.
listen, I'd
all
love
I'm
to do
saying
another
to you
hour
is
on
I
this
think you guys are discounting. They thought they were going to get lightning in a bottle from this guy and that he had something to play for.
And he
there's
was the key
nothing
to their
better.
title hope.
It's a big part.
And
I
he
don't
was the key to their title
I don't
hopes.
like this team nearly as much without Boogie. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I love this idea that the Lakers are really concerned about DeMarcus Cousins and his future. They need a title now, Rob.
No mercy.
All right, earlier this week, Jerry Jones said he knew Ezekiel Elliott would return from his holdout in shape and ready to hit the ground running in week 1. According to Adam Schefter, Jerry was right about Zeke staying in shape. Zeke has been working out in Cabo while missing camp, and apparently it's showing. His weight is reportedly down in the low 220s, which would be his lowest weight since entering the league. Zeke was 228 last season. Rob, do you think Zeke is going to be back with the Cowboys in week 1?
I'm not convinced. I mean, I don't understand. Jerry has the money. He knows how important Ezekiel Elliott is. Ezekiel's been real strong on, I'm not playing, I'll sit out, whatever I got to do to get paid, and I get it. The CBA doesn't work for running backs in this league. He's not going to be one of these guys who gets used up and then, or maybe gets hurt, doesn't get paid. This guy has led the league in rushing a couple years. They've won 2 out of 3 division in the NFC East. All this stuff is all laid out for Jerry Jones, who's been dying to win another championship, right? Has won a handful of playoff games in 25 years since he took control of, because, you know, he runs the Cowboys like a mom and pop store. Hey, open up the cash register and pay Ezekiel Elliott right now. Stop with the game. Stop with him being in Cabo. Get him in camp. Pay this guy. And that's why you're playing chicken. I believe Jerry Jones thinks this is Emmitt Smith part 2. He's looking at the schedule saying, Greg, I got 2 or 3 easy games to start the season. I'll make this kid sweat. We'll go 2-0 or 2-1 or 3-0 to start the season, and he'll be knocking on my door about coming back. And I think he's playing a dangerous game. That's why I don't believe Jerry has any incentive. If he was playing 3 tough teams to start the season and he could start the season realistically 0-3, this would be over. He's trying to roll the dice and play a game that could wind up burning Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. I don't understand. Pay people who produce, and that's what he's
Pay
done.
him what, the Le'Veon Bell money or the Todd Gurley money?
Pay that guy what he deserves.
Okay.
And whatever that is, you got to figure it out.
Okay.
You got yachts, you got plenty of money. It's not like the Cowboys don't have money to pay.
Greg
They
Jennings,
do.
will Ezekiel Elliott be there in week 1 against the rival New York Giants?
Ezekiel Elliott will be present week 1 with the Dallas Cowboys.
Can I get some chicken wings on this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All flat.
All for the
Parmesan
reasons you mentioned. because Jerry Jones has the money, because he said earlier, when has he never gotten a deal done? And then he understands what is before them. The opportunity that lies in front of them is too great. There is too big of a risk to not have Ezekiel Elliott in the lineup come week one. You throw out these first 3 games with the Giants and the Redskins and the Dolphins. The Dolphins, let's throw them out. Let's start with the first 2 games. These are division games. I don't care what the record of either of these teams were last year, what their roster configuration is. It's a division game. This is a well-known opponent. You know you need your full roster to go against teams like this. So to give me this, Jerry Jones is okay with starting without Ezekiel Elliott. No, he is not. He's been down this road before. Another point you made, this is Emmitt Smith Part 2.0. So he has been down this road, and you know what happened then? It backfired on him.
He rolled the dice.
And then he rolled up his sleeves and initially and rolled them sleeves right back down. You know what he said that strikes me? Remember the statement he made about an educated man or bleeding out? This is an educated man. He's letting us know, look, I've been educated in this before with this same position, with the same status type player who we really ran our offense through. So I'm not going to be uneducated and not get this man in here when I need him in here. Right now, he wasn't going to play in the preseason anyway. He wasn't going to get any preseason snaps. Mm-hmm. That's what we do now. That's what we see with these running backs, with these top players, even receivers, skill guys. So we're not concerned about that. Is he concerned? Is he trying to make sure that he stays in shape? Would he like for him to be visible so he can lay his eyes on him? Yes. But week one, Ezekiel Elliott will be in that Dallas Cowboy helmet week one.
So I looked at the calendar, 23 days until the season opener. And I always look for the story behind the story, okay? Let's think about this normally. Why would this story come out right now? Why would Zeke's agent be putting this out with a long time to go before week one? My theory is because Ezekiel Elliott's not getting what he wants from Jerry Jones. Jerry's holding firm. I think Rob Parker's correct here. I don't think Jerry's going to pay him. I think Zeke's holding out, and that's why his agent's putting out, oh, you're not going to give us your money? Zeke's in the best shape he's ever been in his career. And I think Zeke right now is on the losing end of the negotiations, and I think Jerry Jones is botching this badly, Greg Jennings. You can shake your head all you want. Jerry Jones, he is a shrewd businessman, but Greg, I'm telling you, I think Jerry botches this. He's not seeing the forest through the trees. Those first 3 games are cake. Have you looked at the schedule after that? The next 4 games are brutal. They could be 3 and 4. You could be setting up, I'm telling you.
And instead you could wind up with a wild card rather than winning the division.
I don't know that they're a playoff team without Zeke Elliott.
Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. Although Jerry Jones is a shrewd businessman, he understands, like as you mentioned, what's at stake here. And he understands the caliber player that he does not have on his football team present in training camp right now. Week one, when you have an opportunity to do something special, and the Dallas Cowboys has that opportunity that lies before them to do something special, you want to give your guys the best possible chance to exercise all of that. Meaning, if I have a Dak Prescott and I haven't seen him have success without this guy in the backfield, why would I start the season without him in the backfield when I can ultimately get him there?
Because you have an ego and you think, I'm running this. This is my team. I'm not going to let...
He can still have his ego.
But that's what it is.
His ego will be stroked when Ezekiel Elliott is back there and is proven that... I'm not saying he has to pay him Todd Gurley money.
He wouldn't even pay Emmitt Smith at the time when they had all those great players and they had a chance to make a run, which they wound up doing.
They won the Super Bowl when Emmitt came back. But wait, you said he's not going to pay him Gurley money. Well, then Zeke ain't coming. Ezekiel Elliott knows his worth. And as we talked about with Reggie Bush yesterday here, these running backs have a short shelf life. Ezekiel Elliott's not putting his neck on the line. Le'Veon Bell last year, he sat out the whole damn season. I mean, Zeke has 2 years left.
I think the running backs saw what happened, and they all realized this CBA doesn't work for us. I'm going to get my money. I'm not going to let them burn me out and not get paid again. And I think that's why I'm with you. Ezekiel Elliott is serious. I could see him like saying, I'm not going to do it unless you pay me.
And I understand where Zeke's coming from. I think we're on the same page here, Jennings. I hate that we're ganging up.
You understand where Zeke's coming from?
Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott wants that money. He sees all this talk about Dak Prescott, who we agree. We all agree. Dak is not the most important player on this offense. It's Ezekiel Elliott. And they're talking about giving Dak 30 to 40 million?
But you can't see you don't understand it then. Because you can't cross look at a quarterback position where their market has been set. This is not Ezekiel Elliott versus Dak Prescott issue.
But Zeke is proven. Dak is not.
It doesn't matter. My point is the market is set for quarterbacks, and the market is what it is for running backs. So this has nothing to do with Dak Prescott. That's why, to me,
it seems like it's a harder deal to get done because it's easier with Dak because of where the market is set, and you kind of feel like, am I right? And then the running back, it's all over the place, right? The Rams did Gurley with the big money, so people look at that. Then the Jets with Le'Veon Bell was less.
Melvin
so people
Gordon
are saying Melvin Gordon's holding out. So this is why this is a little more difficult because of what Ezekiel Elliott thinks he's worth.
So
he's saying,
if Dak is so easy, why isn't that done?
Because they don't have to do it until next year. They can still wait.
They could tag him.
And he's present.
Right. He's not holding out.
He's not holding out.
Right.
So there's no dire emergency.
I don't believe that Ezekiel Elliott is going to top Todd Gurley. I do not believe that.
So does that mean that he's going to come back and grovel?
But I do believe he will be back in and sign the contract that is higher than what Le'Veon Bell said. Le'Veon Bell did the running backs a disservice by signing his deal less than what Todd Gurley got. Obviously, I don't believe there was anyone out there that would have paid him more than Todd Gurley because he did sit out a year and had a year out of football. So you're not going to pay a guy where you have a guy like Todd Gurley who's proven to do this consistently year after year and he's not sitting out. So Ezekiel Elliott, he can want to sit out all he wants, but he's not going to get more than Todd Gurley. And if he does, congratulations.
Well, I mean, you saw what happened. Gurley got his big deal, then he got hurt. All right, Devonta Freeman got his. Devonta Freeman. No, this is what I'm giving you the Jerry Jones argument. Devonta Freeman got paid week 1 of the next season, injured out. These running backs, all the guys that got the top money, all the top running backs, they get hurt. Running backs, they say they're replaceable. I'm telling you, this is what Jerry Jones.
Quarterbacks get hurt. Did Jimmy Garoppolo get hurt?
Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt.
Okay, people get hurt in the NFL. Stop. You can't just say running back.
I mean, the numbers.
Did he not get a big contract? He got hurt.
Exactly.
Come on now. Stop. You can't just say running back.
You're comparing a running back to a quarterback? A quarterback's shelf life is 15, 16
But people get hurt.
Jason,
is my point.
Running backs are 7, 8 years tops.
Let me explain to you how the National Football League works.
Please explain,
This
Greg.
is why money is not guaranteed, because they understand the risk of injury. This is why there's hesitation and apprehension on the side of those who are going to be handing and dishing out the money.
Which is why Zeke's not going to show up in week 1. You're arguing for us.
No, I'm not arguing for you. You're making it seem like these owners and those who are handing out this money and these contracts don't understand the risk of if we pay them, they can still potentially get hurt. It's a part of the game. But can you live with it? Can we still be successful even if that risk actually happens? Even if that happens that someone gets hurt, it happens every single year.
2 running backs, more than any other position that matters on the skills. Greg, I'm sorry. I feel bad doing that. But you're incorrect here. All right, Lamar Jackson was fun to watch last night. But are you really sold on him as an NFL quarterback? We'll discuss that next.
No mercy.
Rothy's are the everyday flats for life on the go. They're stylish, comfortable, and go with everything, from yoga pants to dresses and skirts. They've quickly become a most loved, gotta-have brand thanks to their wide range of colors and patterns, with new ones launching constantly. And there is 0 break-in period. Since Rothy's are crafted using 3D knitting techniques and hand assembly, their seamless design means right out of the box comfort. Best of all, they're made from recycled plastic water bottles. That's right. Over 25 million water bottles have been diverted from landfills to make these gorgeous and sustainable shoes. Another major bonus? They're fully machine washable, so your pair will be fresh and ready every laundry day. Plus, Rothy's always come with free shipping and free returns and exchanges. There's no risk and no reason not to try. You'll quickly discover why BuzzFeed called them their forever shoes. Check out all the amazing styles available right now at rothys.com/cadence. Comfort, style, and sustainability. These are the shoes you've been waiting for. Head to rothys.com. That's ROTHYS.com/cadence today.
No mercy.
The Ravens appear to have their QB of the future in Lamar Jackson. Last night, Lamar was 6 for 10, 58 yards passing, another 14 yards on the ground. Also had a nice touchdown run that was called back. After taking over the starting role last season, Lamar went 6-1 to end the season and make the playoffs. The magical run came up short in the postseason when Lamar completed just 48% of his passes in a loss to the Chargers. Some have questioned Lamar's passing and fear he relies too much on scrambling. Greg, you sold on Lamar Jackson?
No, I'm not. I'm not sold on him yet. He still has to show me he can be a passing quarterback in this league. He can. There's no more. Like, people want to compare him to Michael Vick. One thing about Mike Vick, he could throw the football. He could stand in the pocket and he could deliver the ball better than
He had a good arm.
than most. He had a really good arm and he was accurate. The last time, you mentioned it, the last time we saw Lamar Jackson in a meaningful game was in the playoffs, and he went 14 for 29, 48% completion percentage.
And if you remember that
That's
game,
not
a lot of
winning
it was
football.
at the end when the
a
game
lot
was
of it was
over.
He did have the 2 touchdowns later in the game,
right.
but he had the 1 interception. There's too many highs and lows. Even last night when I watched him, we talk about not putting too much into it and not putting enough into it. Last night he had some good throws. He really did. And he also had those flashes where it's like you can't do that. You have to make those throws. He went 6 for 10. That's 60% completion percentage. Would have been one of his better performances all of last year.
Still not good enough.
And still not good enough. So Jason, yes, he has to show that he can throw the ball. Let me show you this. Joe Flacco last year passing, when he was with the Baltimore Ravens, their passing yards per game was at 273 passing yards per game. 61% completion percentage. Lamar Jackson, last season, his average was 75 passing yards per game. 75 passing yards per game, 58% completion percentage. And you telling me I should be sold?
Wait. Can you back up the records with Flacco and then with Lamar?
I get the records, but they were top 5 in almost every defensive category as a defense and top 2 in almost every rushing category. So you relied heavily on your run game. Teams understand who you are. And from year to year, if you're not evolving, if you're not improving, and it starts with that quarterback position, that man right there, does he have the ability to do it? Yes, I've seen him do it, but he has to do it on a consistent basis. And until he does that, I'm not sold. I'm going to sit back in my chair and I'm going to say, there go that guy again.
Here's a time me and you agree, because I'm with you. I'm serious. He has talent. We already know that.
Yes.
He's a talented young guy. But Greg is right. You just can't run around. We saw in the playoffs when it mattered, all of a sudden, because he had a nice run to get them there after he took over for Flacco, and a lot of it he did by running around and doing whatever. But you're going to face the better teams, and they're going to make you throw the football.
Yes.
And that's where he has to. He has to make it at least to where people or teams feel like it's a legit thing that we have to defend the pass somewhat. Otherwise, we just load up and stop the run, which means you're going to stop them. And your defense can play well, Greg. You can run that football, eat up the clock. You still got to get points at some point, and you still got to throw the ball in the end zone. So I'm with you. I like him a lot. I was glad to see that little playoff push and run and what they did a year ago. But until he's really throwing the football and they can make him a threat both with his arm and along with his legs, and that he's not always just looking to immediately run every time there's a crisis, that sometimes stick in there and make a throw. I can't buy in it. I can't buy in it.
I think I'm about 85% sold on Lamar Jackson. So nearly almost there. And I like the word you used, evolve. Unless you're ready to evolve as a quarterback. And if you look inside the Ravens offense this year, Greg Roman is taking the play calling duties. You guys remember Greg Roman, right? The offensive coordinator with Mr. Kaepernick in San Francisco. I think you guys got steamrolled by Kaepernick in the playoffs. Rob, you've been talking a lot about Kaepernick and how he was taking over the league and Ron Jaworski, blah, blah, blah. Well, when Kaepernick was dominating, Greg Roman was his play caller, heavy on the run game. So what do the Ravens do in the offseason? They go add Mark Ingram from the Saints. They go add Justice Hill from Oklahoma State in the draft, a speedy change of pace guy to go with the Gus Bus. 3 good running backs. But they also want to throw the ball more. Mark Andrews, their tight end, was really good last year, but they didn't really have much outside. So what do? They draft Hollywood Brown from Oklahoma, the great receiver who played last year with Kyler Murray, first-round pick. They also added Miles Boykin, really nice receiver, 2 guys who have shown well in the preseason. I'm telling you guys, Lamar didn't really have the weapons or the confidence to go down the field last year. I think this year they're a much more diverse offense under Greg Roman. I'm 85, almost 90% sold.
So what's the issue? Is his accuracy good enough? Is his arm strong enough? What is the 50%?
I mean, listen, the accuracy.
No, I'm asking about, yeah.
Well, again, if the first place schedule is going to be key. Down the stretch last year, they played some bad run defenses and just trucked them. I mean, and they easily were able to run the football. But as you said, the playoffs against a great Chargers team, they put 6 defensive backs on the field and said, we dare you to run on us. And they had too much speed. Ravens couldn't run. Lamar wasn't ready to pass. But he had an off-season growth, added skill players. I'm confident that Lamar can get the job done. I like the Ravens this year. I don't love them as a Super Bowl team or anything. But Lamar Jackson, to me, he's the guy, no doubt, in Baltimore.
This is going to be the approach of every defense he faces. When they see the Baltimore Ravens is on our schedule and they're the week of the Baltimore Ravens, when you put up your players of impact and your keys to success and what we need to do to eliminate these guys and what we need to force them to do, what they're going to say is, we can't allow them to run the football. Stop the run.
And you'll win.
Make Lamar Jackson beat us with his arm. That is going to be unanimous across the board. And if he can't get it done early and build that confidence within himself and the guys around him, has to see that, okay, he's starting to make some strides because it looks good. And we can hear all about the great throws that he makes in practice in the preseason and all these things where defenses aren't showing you everything that they have, all their defensive packages and schemes. Yes, that's great. But can you do it when it counts? Because when those live bullets come and those guys start flying and you have to make those tight window throws, can you make them on a consistent basis? Can you sustain drives? Can you do it late in games when you're going to be forced to throw the football?
Can you throw on 3rd down and get a first down?
Like this is a throwing league.
Yes.
This is not a running football. Don't get me wrong. They are a great running football team. Nobody is discounting what they can do running the football and rushing. But you're going to have to be able to throw the ball in the air to progress as an offensive passing unit in this National Football League. That's just fact. And for me to be sold on Lamar Jackson, he's going to have to show me more. You talk about the receivers that he has, or that they added. I mean, he had Michael Crabtree last year. He had Snead last year. He had weapons. We just never got to see them flourish because he couldn't get them the ball. So you ask any of those receivers last year how excited they were when they took that field.
Wow, it was a rookie taking over midseason.
I get that.
The rookie part, but he has a problem with delivering the football. And in this NFL, you have to be able to throw it. And you're right, Greg, defensively, even in the playoff game, if you really go back and look, you'll look and go, well, he threw 2 touchdowns, whatever. This was all after the fact. After the game was decided, and obviously you can't run the ball. You're going to run the clock out. So you're forced to have to throw, and defenses are allowing you to throw in front of them. So I would be discouraged
I think
that he can't deliver the football.
I think a lot of times we fall into the trap of putting too much stock in what we just saw. Well, Tom Brady was terrible in the Super Bowl. Sean McVay got out-coached in the Super Bowl. Is he good? You know, that kind of thing. And Lamar was bad in that playoff game, no doubt. But guess what, guys? Sometimes in life, you know, you got to go through a tough thing, get through it, and then you come out better. This loss to the Chargers was back in January. We're in August. He's had 7 months. Greg Roman, John Harbaugh, they've had 7 months to build that offense and craft and prepare. All right, how many new plays are we putting in when the defense puts 6 defensive backs on the field? Lamar just wasn't ready for it in that game. I think he will be ready for it this season.
Jason, that all sounds good, but if he's not accurate, if he can't make the throws, I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care how many months. His months better have been spent throwing the ball accurately and putting the ball in pinpoint locations.
Did you say you saw throws last night he missed?
I saw last night he missed throws, and I'm not going to just sit here and knock him because he's missed throws, because every quarterback is going to miss some throws. You mentioned Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, they all miss the throws, but you have to make the ones that are given. And he had one last night over the middle where he threw it behind his receiver, and he could have potentially scored, but he missed them. It's throws like that you have to make when you're pressured and you have a hot receiver peeking off the ball and you miss them. You can't miss simple throws like that. He made some good throws last night. I saw some great things, but I still see the little nuances that are holding him back, which is his accuracy, his lack of accuracy.
And Greg, if he ever works that out, and
he can be
he would
special.
be dynamic. I
Oh
totally
my
agree
gosh.
because of what he can do with the football, running it. And then if he could really be accurate, throw the ball downfield and make defenses play him honestly and not cheat on him, then he could be a really good player. I'm with you.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, Patriots head coach Tom Brady. That is a nice ring to it,
What?
right?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Rob, I know you love that.
I just threw up in my mouth.
We'll see what Eric Mangini thinks next.
No mercy.
The GOAT, Tom Brady. He's made it clear that he'd like to play quarterback until he's 45 years old. He also made it very clear he does not intend to coach after his playing days are over. When asked if he'd consider coaching after he retires, Brady replied with an emphatic, "Oh, hell no. I'm never coaching. Playing is enough for me." We are joined by FS1 NFL analyst Eric Mangini, the champion of the week.
Why do you
Eric,
look at me like that? You just can't say good morning?
No, this week has been like a generational beatdown.
boom, let's get it
And
started.
I just don't know, I'm glad we picked a very uncontroversial topic.
Are you sure?
Yeah, so that you can end with a soft land.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Well, this is just as a start. We can always pivot. But Eric, would Tom Brady make a great coach?
Yeah, Tom Brady would make a great coach. And to some degree, Tom Brady has been a great coach for a long time there. Every year they transition players. Every year he's got to coach up a new left tackle or a new tight end or a new wide receiver. And even in this part of training camp, the core group of his receivers that are there, and a lot of those guys are new, are hurt. So now he's working with a whole nother group of receivers. So he's coaching on a consistent basis. But actually transitioning into coaching as a profession, he'd be fantastic. And the reason is a lot of great players have a hard time doing it because they don't understand when other guys can't get it quickly. Because for them, things always came quickly. So when another player who doesn't have the same level of ability doesn't get it, it doesn't make sense to them and it gets frustrating. But with Tom, even though he's become the player that he's become, he started off in a very different place. And he's consistently worked to improve. And even as he's achieved greatness, he's consistently worked to improve, which is what, as a coach, you're always trying to get players to do. From a financial standpoint, no, he wouldn't want to do that. From the amount of time you don't get to spend with your family, no, he wouldn't want to do that. I also see Tom as a potential great owner. And if he wasn't an owner, maybe he's a president overseeing like the GM and head coach and acting as a lighthouse for an organization. I think he'd be great at that too.
The point you made that great players normally don't make great coaches, that's why I think Tom Brady would be a great coach. Because Tom Brady is not that player.
Oh.
What? I'm just trying to say. Tom Brady would be a great coach. I don't see him. I'm with you. I'm just being funny. I'm with you. I don't see him as wanting to take that kind of job and put in the kind of time and effort that it would take. Most of those guys don't want to be coaches. We've seen some great players try to be coaches. Magic Johnson coached the Lakers. That didn't work out. I think it's hard for guys on that level to become coaches. It's usually guys who aren't that good, you know what I mean, who really learn the game, study the game, and I think they make better coaches for the most part.
But I do think he would be really good at it if he chose to, because of the way he came up. I just don't think he'd ever choose to go that route.
No, he might have come in as, a 6th-round pick, but he's going out on top of the game, so he wouldn't.
As what?
As the luckiest of all time, not the GOAT.
Stop it. Tom Brady would be fantastic as a coach. Now, the only thing that I don't like when it comes to great players getting into these roles as coaches, and we're obviously understanding that he doesn't want to coach, is his coaching resume will be defined by wins and losses. You know this.
That's what this game is all about.
It's all about wins and losses, and it really doesn't tell the full scope of how good or how effective a coach really is, because what the message that a coach is trying to convey, what he's strategically implementing, sometimes if he's not giving the time frame to develop the personnel or to bring in the personnel to facilitate that, then it's a bad look on them. It's a reflection of, you had a great quarterback in your stint with the Jets that got you numerous amount of success, right?
Which one?
Well, exactly. My point exactly.
So now you're blaming the quarterback for why you didn't win in New York?
No, he didn't blame the quarterback. He said which
Look,
one. He said which one.
I did win in New York, but that's another segment.
Yes. But my point is, it's so heavily predicated on the production of the guys going out on the field. It wouldn't be indicative on how great a coach or how great a teacher or educator Tom Brady is. And to your point that you mentioned, he's been doing this forever. When you're playing that quarterback position, you are the coach on the field. That's, as an offensive coordinator, you're pretty much giving the keys to the vehicle to your quarterback. Run this ship when I'm not in your ear, when it's 2-minute, when it's no huddle, when the game is on the line. This is your car. You run it however you want to. That's what Tom Brady has been doing his entire career.
I have two better jobs for Tom Brady when he retires. He could be a videographer or he could be an equipment manager. Either one of those he's done really well in. So that's what he should do after he retires.
Or he could come and be on this show. So he was coaching yesterday. We saw the rookie defensive end from Michigan puts out something on Instagram. I think it was a quote from Shakespeare, and Tom responded with "Get in your playbook." That's coaching. That right there is coaching. He's monitoring the young players. He sees that this young player is obviously focused on some things that he could spend his time a little bit more wisely, and he's jumping in on those things. But as from an ownership perspective or from a president type perspective, he would give coaches and GMs and an organization time to develop. He would have the understanding of what it takes to build a culture, but not a quick fix culture, but a truly sustainable culture of winning year in and year out. And I think that, to me, would be a great path for him.
Eric, let's go to preseason football. Last night, I'm sure you watched a little Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. I'm curious as to your thoughts on the generational performance from Kyler Murray.
Is he going to the Hall of Fame?
I think that's a perfect example of why you don't want to make grand statements. And he is going to go through learning curves. And if he is the talent that they hope he is, and look, we all want him to be successful, it's going to take time. And when you add these gigantic expectations and he has an off night and everybody has an off night, then people look at him like, well, why aren't you performing at the level everybody assumed you'd be at? And it's not a fair evaluation.
So would you or are you more concerned with Kyler Murray's performance or the performance of the team in the personnel that they have around and surrounding Kyler Murray?
Yeah, they're going to have a problem in both areas. I was surprised by the volume of pressures that people were bringing in preseason football. I mean, you watch some of these games. I mean, even they've got double mug blitzes, which is two guys walked up in the A gap, and games and exotics, and they're disguising coverage. And look, that's part of training camp. But typically you don't see it this early, and they were giving him a lot of that. So am I concerned about what I saw? I wouldn't be excited about what I saw, and yeah, there would be a level of concern with how he dealt with pressure, because everybody else is learning as well. Everybody who watches him is learning. So if he has an issue with pressure, it's like sharks to blood. There's going to be volumes and volumes of pressure that comes. And the team as a whole, you know, they have one of the least amount of salary cap space. So it's not like they can even go get a lot of guys if they become available, because all the dead money with people that have been cut. They're kind of who they are outside of some people that they can pick up on waivers.
How long should we expect for Murray to understand these blitzes? He had 17 starts in the Big 12 where they don't play a lot of defense. And now, as you said, John Gruden coming out almost making a statement against the young guy with all these blitzes. Is this like a half-season thing, a full season, 2 years before he picks up on it?
Well, the goal as a defensive coordinator is you're always trying to develop different blitzes, different looks, different combination coverages, and there's things that he's going to see each week from various coordinators that's different, radically different than what he saw the week before, and nothing like he saw in college. So there's going to be this learning curve that hits and hits, and whenever there's a weakness, whatever weakness he shows, you better get that fixed immediately, because it's going to come in gigantic waves, and they're going to try to blow him up because, you know, they've seen the pattern on tape.
How about Lamar Jackson? Where are you on him? Is he?
Well,
he has to throw the football.
I was blown away by your point when I was listening back there.
What was my point?
If a quarterback's able to develop as a passer, if he's able to develop as a passer, he'll be a really good quarterback. And you know, right there,
he does other things.
That wisdom that you dropped on me, though. I
didn't know I was a football coach.
I didn't. I had to take a second and just. I was a bit thankful that I was here today to be able to hear that live. If a quarterback develops as a passer, he'll be a pretty good quarterback. Okay. I like the fit with Greg Roman, and I was with Greg in San Francisco, and when we had Colin and the job that he was able to do, where he could maximize Colin's skill set as a runner, and then also give him things in the passing game that helped fit his style as he was developing as a passer. And Lamar is going to have to develop as a passer. But having Greg there, putting him in a position to be successful in both the running game and the passing game while he's developing, I think is a great benefit to him. Now, there's a ton of checks at the line of scrimmage. Lamar's going to have, for this system to work, Lamar's going to have to be able to come up, ID fronts, ID coverages, and get the team into the right play if this system is going to work like it used to work. And I don't know where he is with that and with his development, because this really is the first off-season in Greg Roman's system, and that's a concern.
How about his accuracy? Can you teach accuracy? That's always something you know what I mean? Like some guys just aren't accurate and other guys are pinpoint accurate. Can you teach accuracy?
You can work on it. And from a defensive back perspective, we used to have guys that took poor angles to the ball in the deep part of the field. And we would do drill after drill after drill, and you're trying to change muscle memory. And to some degree, you can, but there's a lot of reps built up with throwing motions. See with Cam Newton this year. Cam's really working on changing his throwing motion, and to some degree it's working, but you've got to overcome a dramatic amount of muscle memory for that to really take effect.
Yeah, it's all about repetition. I mean, the more you do it, and it's a feel thing. Like, it's like a three-point shot. It's like a free throw. You can work on it, you can improve it, but you gotta get a great feel of it. And for me, watching Lamar Jackson, if he's gonna continue to grow as a passer in this league, he has to be put in situations where he's going to throw the ball versus just escape with his legs. That is his first primary source of ability of attacking the defense is, okay, if I don't have my first option, I might go to my second, but I know I got my legs. And that can't be the case if you're trying to develop as a passing quarterback in this league.
And in the wisdom of Rob Parker, if he's going to develop as a passer, he's got to develop as a passer.
Absolutely.
Right?
What are you trying to say?
No, I'm saying that was fantastic.
You know what? After this week, you finally walked away. You know what? Maybe you'll get another head coach.
I think you need workers' comp after this week. Did they have workers' comp?
Throw the damn towel, Jennings. Thanks a lot,
gotta end
Coach.
this on
Great stuff
cuts.
all week. Coach Mangini, awesome stuff. Will the Cowboys get a slim and trim Ezekiel Elliott back for week 1? Former NFL running back Rashad Jennings is here to give us his answer next.
No mercy.
Earlier this week, Jerry Jones said he knew Ezekiel Elliott would return to form from his holdout, in shape and ready to hit the ground running in week 1. According to Adam Schefter, Jerry was right about Zeke staying in shape. Zeke has been working out in Cabo while missing camp, and apparently it's showing. His weight is reportedly down in the low 220s, which would be his lowest weight since entering the league. Zeke was listed at 228 last season. Former NFL running back Rashad Jennings joins us now. Rashad, what do you think? You think Ezekiel Elliott will be back with the Cowboys in week 1?
Ooh, that's tough. Week 1, I think contractually he has to be back. You know, I mean, we're looking at a different situation from Le'Veon Bell, where I think he was going into being a franchise guy, where he wasn't obligated necessarily to come back. He wasn't a free, unrestricted free agent. But this is a situation where I think Zeke could be fined if he doesn't come back. So I think personally he'll come back. I think he's holding out right now for obvious reasons. Well, it's not obvious reasons, but to me it's obvious. I think he wants 3 contracts while he plays in the NFL. And there's a recipe to getting 3 contracts as a running back in the NFL if you follow the history of it. And I just wrote down a few guys. Frank Gore, 3 contracts.
He played forever.
Yeah, he's still
in the
playing.
league. Yeah.
Right. It's unbelievable.
Balling. Shout out to Frankie.
Yes.
I trained with him, man. He's a hard worker. Marshawn Lynch, 3 contracts. Adrian Peterson, 3 contracts. LaShawn McCoy, 3 contracts. Matt Forte, 3 contracts. What's all common with them? They all played just 3 years in college. They all got their second contract within that 4 years. And then they all got their third contract, 28, 29 years old. So when you look at Gurley, he came out early. He's on his way to get 3 contracts. Bell, he came out early. He's on his way to get 3 contracts. Saquon, he's going to get it too. And I think Zeke understands the value of taking care of your body during the offseason when you're not getting pounded and taxed.
Can you appreciate now what the running backs are doing from the standpoint that the CBA doesn't work for running backs because they have your rights so long, they use you up, and then they don't want to, they don't want to pay you and say, well, you're burnt out. So now these guys are saying, I want to get paid. I'm not going to wait around. I'm not going to let you devalue me and not pay me.
Yeah, I think
see that?
It's smart. I mean, the game, if you look at the Super Bowls, every Super Bowl won, the leading rushing team has won, just about. And look how much of the production, especially we're talking about Zeke specifically, he had, over 400 touches last season. It was like 320-something plus rushes, 77 or 80 catches. He's a big bulking percentage of the success of the Cowboys. And he understands that. He gets that. And I think with him losing a little bit of pounds, I don't think that shows him out of shape. I think that's very purposeful. As a matter of fact, most guys, especially running backs, will tell you, you get out of shape during OTAs. You get out of shape during camp. Why? Because you're sitting around in meetings all day long. I mean, my goodness. And you don't get a chance to run and contribute all the training that you do during the offseason. So check this out. There's 24 hours in a day. 24 hours in a day. Say you sleep 8. You left with 16. Say you train somewhere between 2 to 5 hours. That includes weight room, classroom, acupuncture, massage therapist, whatever attribute you need. Then now you're down to 11. You have 11 hours in a day free. And we're worried about him being in Cabo, right, with 11 free hours. He's still training. That's the thing that people don't get. It's like if you see an athlete do anything, if he's playing the piano, he's playing the guitar, he's in the community work, you're supposed to be training. Dude, I got free time, man. Like, let the man live. He's going to come back in great shape because he wants 3 contracts, and I think he's following that recipe.
Yeah, and I'm of the mindset that Ezekiel Elliott will be present with the Dallas Cowboys week 1 because Jerry Jones understands what's in front of them. What they have to accomplish is still in front of them, but it stays out front if Ezekiel Elliott is on our team starting week 1. If you remove him from the equation, you take away, as you mentioned, so much of the production of their offense and the identity of their offense now shifts. They would try to remain a running team and heavily exploding their running back. Tony Pollard, as Jerry Jones said, could fill the shoes of Ezekiel Elliott, but that's just not going to be realistic. When you have an Amari Cooper, a Randall Cobb, and a young Michael Gallup that's up and coming, you're going to try to allow your natural instincts are going to say, you know what, Dak, we need more out of you. And that's not really what they want to do. That's not who they are. So you got to get Ezekiel Elliott in there. Again, I don't think he's going to get the Todd Gurley money. I think he'll come close.
But don't you think, I think that there's an ego thing with Jerry. Jerry went to bat for him. Now you doing this to me. I was the one trying to perform a coup against the commissioner when you got suspended, right? And then out of nowhere, nobody knew he was going to be a holdout. It came out of nowhere. What do you mean a holdout? You're not coming to camp. And Jerry did it with Emmitt Smith. Oh, we'll wait. Emmitt will come back to me, but they started 0-2. And then all of a sudden, Jerry got on the stick and got the deal done. They got 3 easy games to start the season. Jerry wants to wait. I'm telling you.
So this is
what
he keeps saying 3 easy games.
I'm just saying on the schedule.
Would you explain to them
the Giants?
Former New York Giant.
Hold on. The first 2 games are division games. Take the fact out that you played with the Giants. Division games aren't gimmies. Would you let these gentlemen know that have been in locker rooms all their lives and played so many games? Let them know.
Listen, man, you can throw everything out of the equation. When you playing in the division, it counts twice, man. And that's the quickest path to the playoffs is winning your what?
Yes, division.
So everything's on the line. They're going to throw out everything at the book. So each game is important. There's only 16 games anyway.
I get it, but let me tell you, I know you guys this is that coach speak play. Oh, everybody can win, whatever. You smell that? That's the Giants, that's Washington, and that's the Dolphins. Those are 3 bad teams, and if you can't beat them, you're not going to the Super Bowl anyway. I get the division.
I want to be clear. I was in Vegas last month. I bet the Giants with the points in Week 1 against the Cowboys. I think the Giants will keep that one close, maybe win that. I want to ask you about devalued running backs.
We know your betting skills. So
Mr. Jennings, I'm a great gambler. You look at the comments from Jerry Jones' way. We got Tony Pollard. He can carry the load. That was his quote. We saw the Rams where Gurley was injured in the NFC title game. They had C.J. Anderson. They were still able to win. Yeah. We're seeing running backs being devalued, if you will, in the system. Chargers don't want to pay Melvin Gordon. Steelers, we're not paying Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell holds out.
Worked out for them. Did they make the playoffs last year? Forget it.
I just want your thoughts on the running back position as it stands today.
I think it's obviously people try to devalue it, and we think the devalue of it comes from a financial thing. Like we don't want to pay them a lot of money, and we think because you're not getting paid a lot, that means it's devalued, right? How many people are so talented in this world that are not paid millions of dollars? Does it mean that they're less talented? Does it mean that they're less important? No. We put value on money, but the game of football, historically, you can't devalue any position. But
ask the Patriots and Sony Michel last year where they would have been with Tom Brady stinking up the joint in the Super Bowl. Would they have won without him? They wouldn't have won.
Oh, no doubt about it.
What, Greg? Was he bad or not?
I'm not going to go down that road with you. I'm not going to go down
James
that road.
James White should have been a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I don't understand why Tom got that one.
Tom didn't get that.
I mean, no, who got that?
Edelman.
No. That
last year.
Last year. Yeah, I'm talking about the year before when the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Falcons. He broke a record.
Yeah.
But yeah, the running back position, it's shifting for sure. I think I read something one time. It said I think 84% of the games won was based upon the running back position, and now it's only 33%. Some crazy stat. But the game is shifting. More talent. You catch diversity. Catching the football out of the backfield has really changed the game for a lot of running backs. And if you don't have that ability, it really showcases. And when it's time to negotiate at the table, you're protecting. As a running back, you do everything. You protect the quarterback like an offensive lineman. All right? You run the football like a running back. You have to catch like a wide receiver. And you have to see the field like a quarterback. You're asked a lot back there when you're dotting out. You're solo back here. in the I formation. Everything is in front of you, and you have to play chess.
And when you talk about blocking, these guys are bigger, stronger. They're coming at you. I mean, and you have to defend all these guys and protect the quarterback. I think that's a hard job. You guys are always in the game.
Getting beat up. Reggie Bush was out here yesterday. Hey, it's not fun going to chip Aaron Donald as he's steamrolling the offensive line.
One of the points that Rashad made is anytime a player is up, meaning it's time to pay that man. It's time for the opposition on the other side of the table to say, okay, let's find what he doesn't do. Or let's find every little loophole or every little thing that he doesn't do to where we can drop and we can lower the value of what they provide. No one ever discounts what you can do. We know what you can do, but let's now try to lower that value of who you are based on the things that you don't do so well.
Yeah, and to that point, and you can attest to this, the NFL is not evaluating you to find reasons to pay you. They're trying to evaluate you to find reasons to replace you and why they don't need to pay you. So check this out. Check this. Play with the logic. So Dak is trying to get paid. Zeke is trying to get paid. One's in camp, one is not. So when Dak throws a football every single time, if he throws a pick, if he messes up and throws an incomplete pass, what they do in that office is they evaluate. See, that's why we don't need to pay him. See, that's why. They have nothing to evaluate Zeke on, so they're flustering. Dang, we're missing him, we're missing him, we're missing him. So he actually has leverage right now. He's winning right now because he's healthy. He's not beating up his body. He's mentally and spiritually free right now when he comes back to pick up where he left off and where Dak is having so much pressure to continue to perform while he barked. He definitely barked how much money he wants. It's hard to do.
Wow. That's a little scary if you're Jerry Jones, right? Zeke's got the leverage. I think we've been on that side.
We're on that.
Greg
right.
Jennings is on an island here. He thinks, oh, that's no big deal. That ain't no thing.
Because
out.
Jerry Jones has the money.
Yeah.
And he understands, again, what he has in front of him. And if he wants to win, he knows I need my running back.
But Jerry hasn't won since Jimmy Johnson left, and he runs the Cowboys like a
Which is why he's going to pay.
Well, he's going to finally get it right now after all these years?
He hasn't won because he hasn't had the leader. Every time they won in Lombardi, it came by the hands of them having the leading rusher in the NFL on their team by the name of Emmitt Smith. That's why.
No, I know,
So
but
the
I'm
running
saying
back
when they put
position-
that team together, I agree with you. But we even saw, even in that case, where he didn't want to pay Emmitt right away, and he waited. And had they started out 2-0, I don't know if Emmitt would Emmitt have gotten paid if they had won the first two games instead of losing it. I don't know if that's the case. And all I'm saying, the same thing here. I believe he thinks I have a little wiggle room. I can look at the schedule, not be that fearful of the Giants and
Dolphins and Redskins.
And say, maybe I'll push it a little bit. And ultimately, I'm going to have to come to the table, but maybe I'll make that kid come to me because we're 2-0, or we're 2-1, or we're 3-0 without him. Yeah. I really believe he's not going to be there opening day.
Well, I mean, you take Le'Veon Bell's situation, right? James Conner came in and performed. Did the Steelers go 0-2 from the jump?
No. They were 7-1 or wasn't to start the season. They were good.
7-1. So you think that's why they didn't pay Le'Veon? So if the Steelers, what I'm asking is if the Steelers that year, when Le'Veon was holding out, would have started off 0-2, you think they would have paid him?
No.
I don't think they would have paid him. And in that situation, that was just a severed because Le'Veon had 400 touches. They wanted to franchise tag him again and not pay him for what he's performed. Yeah. He had done everything that you could ask for a guy to do on the football field.
But are you paying for the past performance or the future results?
Oh, my gosh.
So
I'm asking. That's a question, Greg. It's a legitimate question.
You're paying for both.
Hey, you remember the Lakers paid Kobe for all his great service, and he screwed
you're
him.
paying for the past performance because what you've seen in the past is what's going to make you think that you can get that in the future.
Like the Falcons with Devonta Freeman, right? I mean, they gave him all the money. He got hurt week 1. He better show out this year.
Why do you keep bringing that up? It happened.
Just the facts, buddy. All right, Rashad, thanks for coming in. Great stuff. Folks, have we been wrong about John Gruden's Raiders? We'll discuss them next.
No mercy.
The Oakland Raiders had an impressive showing last night from start to finish against the hapless Cardinals. Raiders jumped out to a 26-0 lead in the second quarter. The defense bottled up Kyler Murray, giving up only 12 passing yards and also sacking the rookie twice, including one safety. Derek Carr was 2 for 2 for 40 yards with a TD in his only series. And overall, Raiders QBs were 21 of 24. Carr said he is much more comfortable in year 2 with John Gruden. Rob, should we actually be optimistic about the Raiders this season?
I think we can be from this standpoint. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs and they're going to make a playoff run, but when John Gruden first got here, this was a bad reality TV show with an overpaid star who was the face of the team, and the first thing he did was jettison the 2 best players that they had on the roster, right? So now you look at it and go, okay, that was bad. Last year was horrendous. And now Derek Carr feels better about what's going on. They deliver Antonio Brown that can only help. And then you saw them last night. I'm not going to make the end-all, be-all on the game, but it looked like they were out there having fun. They were playing. So I think that we probably were way too hard on Chucky in the beginning, thinking that it was it was a joke. The Raiders were a joke last year. That's what they laughed about it, right? They got this coach making $100 million. They don't know what they're doing. That's what it felt like. They went and hired a GM from television, and all this stuff who had never done the job. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but I do feel better that the Raiders have some better players and can play.
Jennings, he called it a joke.
That's what it was.
This team is a joke because John Gruden tries in the preseason. Let me give you a number before you go. John Gruden now 16-8-2 against the spread in the preseason. He tries hard.
Did you bet that game last night?
I'm not going to reveal that answer. Go ahead, Greg Jennings. Don't tell me you're falling for this preseason rope-a-dope.
I'm not falling for the preseason rope-a-dope, but I am optimistic about the Raiders.
Yes.
I am. I'm with Rob on this one. When I look at all that's in front of them, when I look at their quarterback, let's start there. Derek Carr had one of his better seasons of his career, with the exception of his touchdowns being down at 19 last year. But his completion percentage, 68%, almost 69%. His passer rating, 93. He threw for over 4,000 yards. Like, there were some really bright moments in a dim organization for Derek Carr. And to add now to his arsenal, Antonio Brown, arguably one of the best receivers in the NFL, to your roster, to give to your young quarterback, he can only improve. And then when I watch them, even throughout Hard Knocks, the one thing I will say about John Gruden is he's going to challenge every single player on that roster, which is why, I questioned a lot of his moves last year. And now that I'm seeing what he's done, I'm starting to understand why. When you have guys who aren't your guys that you bring in, they're gonna buck the system regardless, because they're not your guys. You didn't bring them in. So it's not like college where you have a short stint, a window, and then they're gone. They're no longer yours. They're out of the equation. You have to bring in guys that you know are gonna be locked in and understand what we're trying to do and in agreement with what you're trying to do, invested from day one. And that's what he has right now. We talk about their defense. Their defense last year ranked 9th in pass defense. They're going to be 19th, in pass defense. They're going to be better. They're improving in all areas defensively. And in takeaways specifically, they were tied for 26 in takeaways. Rush defense, they were 30th. They were just a bad defense. I like the direction that he's taking this Oakland Raiders team, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, because that's what he's known for. But he has a quarterback that can get the job done in year 2. I think he has his wide receiver. We have yet to see him, but we know what he's capable of doing. Stop it. We know what he's capable of. His track record, it stands for itself. What we've seen in the past,
yes.
is our expectation of the future for a guy like Antonio Brown.
All right, okay.
And the other thing too is John Gruden has something to prove. I mean, he really does. Those last years in Tampa Bay weren't good.
And let me say this: like their schedule to start is not a hard. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not an easy road. Like they have some challenging opponents
the
right
toughest
out
schedule in the NFL.
right out the gate. You got Monday Night Football against the Broncos, which I think they're going to take that game.
They better
and
win
you
that
got
one.
Kansas City. You're not going to beat Kansas
You
City.
can get shredded.
You got the Vikings. That game you can potentially win. I'm not sure about that one. Colts, and then you got the Bears. You got Khalil Mack coming in before your bye week. That's going to be impressive. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, this is tough, guys. I didn't know Skip and Shannon had such a rabid Raiders following because I've been, coming after Antonio Brown, just spitting the facts earlier this week, and my mentions are just so much anger from Raiders fans. I didn't know that Raiders fans really existed.
It's
been such a dormant franchise for years, okay? I don't even know where to begin with this team and how bad they're going to be. When you talk about, you question some of the moves last year of John Gruden, Greg, you're not questioning the moves this year? I mean, overpaying Trent Brown, the left tackle from the Patriots. He had one good year, and now you give him big left tackle money. You pay Antonio Brown. The Steelers were willing to give him away for what, a third-round pick? Then you look at Vontaze Burfict, Richie Incognito. These ain't choir boys you're getting in the locker room.
Are you starting a choir or football team?
I mean, they're trying to clean up the culture.
You.
Mike Mayock, the guy you talked about, they pulled out of the TV booth. He's trying to clean up the culture there. And you're bringing in Burfict and Incognito. 22 free agents they brought in. This team is a disaster waiting to happen this year. That schedule, dude, they go like 6 weeks without playing a home game. They have 4 back-to-back road games, most in the NFL. They travel the most miles this year. They have the toughest schedule. I mean, I'm loath to use the word bloodbath, but the Raiders are in trouble this year.
When you look at the schedule, guys don't look at the schedule and say, oh, man, we got to travel across the country back-to-back. Man, we're going to be shot. That's not how it works. No one thinks
about it. It's the game in front of you. You're not looking at that.
Yes.
Oh, of course not.
You talk about the guys that he's brought on, Vontaze Burfict, Richie Incognito. Are you watching Hard Knocks? The one thing I will say about John Gruden, he's going to say he might put on a little bit, but what he says has some substance to it. He wants nightmares, guys. I want teams to have nightmares. When you add a guy like Vontaze Burfict, you better believe every receiver will be accounting for where's 55? Where's 55?
Where is he?
Nightmare because
Probably
he gives
writing
you,
a check to the
because he
league
gives you
office for a
nightmares.
dirty hit.
But you bring on players like that understand they're on a short leash, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to do it the right way, but toe the line while you're doing it. I still want you to bring that bite that you've always had. I like the Raiders. I'm not saying they're a playoff team.
Give me a win total. Give me a win total.
I'm not going to give you a win total, but I'm optimistic.
Are they a playoff team?
We said no.
Their division in and of itself.
They got 2 Super Bowl contenders in the division.
It's going to be tough.
So what are we optimistic about?
We just heard
but
Rashad
last year was
say-
such a disaster. Would you admit that? Was last year a disaster?
100%.
Okay, so we're optimistic it's not going to be a repeat of a disaster. They could win 5 or 6 games. I'll say 6 games.
5 or 6 games would be a disaster.
I'll give them 7. I'll give them 7
I
games.
say 6.
They went 4-12 last year. They could have won a couple other games.
You do have the schedule in front. I kind of want to put them on the spot and say, find me 7 wins on there. You're not
doing
Greg, I'm telling you, this is a very difficult
I'll show you.
schedule.
I'll guarantee you a win.
Okay. Let me add this.
Against the Jets.
Of course, yeah, I knew he was going to do that. I knew he was going there first.
Wow.
I do want to add, there is a clause in Carr's contract where they can get out of it after this season, okay? This is a big pivotal year for the Gruden-Carr relationship. You gave some numbers last year on his completion percentage. He was Charlie checkdown because he had no receivers to stretch the field. He was hitting the tight end. He was hitting the running backs. It wasn't a very good season if you look at the full advanced stats on Derek Carr.
Well, 19 touchdowns won't be,
19,
I get it.
Sam Darnold threw that in his sleep. At any rate, I think you're overrating the Raiders just a tad.
No, not at all. I'm not overrating the Raiders. The question is, am I optimistic? I am. And was I hard on John Gruden initially? Of course, because we saw him get rid of Khalil Mack, and we saw what he produced and what he provided for a Chicago Bears organization. And then an Amari Cooper, he got rid of him, and we saw what he produced
when he went to Dallas.
So there leaves room for questioning, what are you doing? But then you start to watch the pieces that he insert. Yeah, sometimes you do have to overpay. So the Brown signing, maybe he did overpay.
You know what I call
but
it?
I understand.
I call it the bad team tax.
I gotta
like
protect.
that.
I gotta protect my most valued asset, which is that man he's talking to right behind you, Derek Carr. If he doesn't protect him, this doesn't even get off the ground. So it starts right there, and I think they have developed a rapport. And we hear Derek Carr talk about it often now. He understands why all the language, why the necessary verbiage in the play calls, and what we're trying to get done. So I think he's going to progress even more.
He is so optimistic, right?
I am
A
optimistic.
Generational talent. Kyler Murray likes the Raiders. We gotta talk to the producers and find something or a team you don't like, Greg.
The Jets, just because of you.
No, he went there. Well, guys, did we see the real Kyler Murray last night? Bucky Brooks joins us next to discuss Kyler's brutal start.
Don't bring those pom-poms out here.
No mercy.
The hype train lost some steam for generational talent Kyler Murray last night after an impressive 6-for-7 debut. Kyler struggled last night against the Raiders. Murray certainly looked like a rookie, going only 3 for 8 for 12 passing yards, was sacked twice, including once for a safety. Quarterback was at least responsible for 3 flags, 1 delay a game, and 2 false starts. Afterward, Kyler admitted he didn't look good, but also chalked it up to being only the preseason. We're joined now by NFL Network analyst Bucky Brooks. Folks, you missed it. During the commercial break, it was heated here. This one's going to get good. All right, Bucky. Are you concerned by what you saw last night from generational talent,
No,
Kyler Murray?
It's the preseason. He's a rookie. It's his only second
What time
taste
of year is it?
It's preseason. Okay. It's the preseason. We're not even game planning yet. We haven't even got the game plan. That doesn't start to week 3 of the preseason when the coaches put in the plan where they're really trying to prepare the players to get ready to play. Some teams take a different approach. It seemed like the Raiders took a serious approach. They came after him. They brought pressure. They brought blitzes. And he didn't respond well to it. But when you're a young quarterback, you know where you go to get answers?
Where's that?
Your coach. And so I think it's a bigger indictment on Cliff Kingsbury. He has to have answers
So
for
you're
his young
passing the
quarterback.
buck. Has nothing to do with the
I
quarterback.
mean, that's why we pay the coach. The coach is the coach. He's supposed to put together
So if
the
he
plan.
played well, you'd be out here waving your pom-poms talking about,
I would.
Look at you would.
I would.
And you wouldn't be bringing up Cliff Kingsbury.
I would be bringing up
no,
Cliff
you would
Kingsbury.
not. You would be
I
telling
would.
me right now about how good he is, how he's a generational talent.
He's going to be great. He's going to be a great one.
And you're the same guy. I remember before, years ago, you just said the same thing you were saying when Ryan Leaf started out. You told me that it was only the preseason and not to worry. You remember
It's
that?
the preseason.
Okay, I just want to
It's
know.
the preseason. Before the season, Rob, you're overreacting.
I just
Bucky,
you can't
what-
have it both ways, though. And my point is just, if it doesn't matter when he plays well, then we shouldn't say, oh, look, I told you. If he plays well in the preseason, why do we put so much stock in playing well?
It
and
does
then if you don't
matter.
play well,
It does matter, but it doesn't count. This matters because now he has teaching tape. Greg can talk to it. Sometimes you need to put some things on film so now you can say, hey, Kyler, these things have been showing up in practice. We hadn't addressed them. Now it showed up in the game. Now I have your attention. Let's get it corrected. If he has a good coach, the coach is going to take care of that, and they'll get it going. The thing that we haven't seen, the version of the Cardinals offense that we're seeing, that's not the version we're going to see in the regular season. They're playing very close to the vest. They're not even really doing the air raid stuff that we've seen for so long. We will see a different Kyler Murray when the regular season comes.
Yeah, and for me, I look at what he showed us last night. And was it great? Not by any stretch. But was it all his fault? Nowhere close. When you are inheriting a bad football team, all the pressure then surmounts on your back. And everybody wants you to be this superhero man that you have to now get a team that won, 3 games last year?
Right.
To now try to get them to be even relevant.
that's why you got the number one
This is why you get
because they've won 3 games.
But you also understand the process, and the process consists of getting your quarterback and making sure then now that we got the quarterback, we got to protect him. We got to establish pieces around him and put personnel around him that's going to help our chances of being better because we know what he is. We know what he's capable of.
He's a generational
He's
talent.
a generational
Stop
talent.
saying
We
that.
said this.
Once in a generation.
Once in
Stop
a
it.
generation. Rob, you even said it before. What other player do we know? What other player do we know that has been drafted top 10 in two major sports.
And you're a baseball guy.
I know that.
And you're a baseball
How many
guy.
guys?
I said earlier.
How many guys,
When
Rob?
he went 3 for 8 yesterday, if it was
Oh, you said it
baseball,
was
he'd
baseball.
be great.
I did. I heard
All
you say that, yes.
But this is football, and there were just stuff, and this is my problem. You're right, the team is bad. Is this going to hurt him as he tries to develop and tries to get to that next level?
No,
He's going to be in trouble because they can't protect him, because they don't have the other players to go with them. That's what I'm saying as you go
So
forward.
this is what's so great about what they're doing with him now by putting him on the field. You're a baseball guy. So it's like trying to figure out how do I build my team for a baseball stadium. So now I have my quarterback. I play him the first year, and then I see what do we need to surround him with to allow him to succeed. We've seen this model happen multiple times in the last few years. Carson Wentz, first year was okay. Second year, they upgraded talent around them. They go to the Super Bowl. We saw Jared Goff, same thing. They upgraded the coaching staff and the talent around him. He played differently. This year, we're seeing in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield. They let him play last year. This year, Odell Beckham Jr., they upgrade the defense. Now the Cleveland Browns should be a team that we're talking about contending in the AFC. Kyler Murray this year is to play, to figure out what he can do really well, and then it's on the front office to go and get the pieces that they need to be successful.
Well, with the new front office, right? We would assume this year's going to be a tough one.
I'm saying that hopefully they win enough games that Steve Keim and those guys can kind of see the plan to the end. But there was a plan in place, obviously, when they took him. Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray are married at the hip. When they made the out-of-the-box hire to get Cliff Kingsbury, they got him for his offensive acumen. So now, who do I want? I want Kyler Murray as my quarterback. He's been chasing him forever. So now these two guys will grow in the league together, and we'll see. Maybe it'll be an epic failure, but you have to give him time.
You got to admit that there's a chance of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
there's
it's-
always a
Do we
chance,
know,
always a chance.
Bucky, I don't want to make it about Steve Keim. He has butchered draft after draft. They just cut Kim Diche, the kid from Ole Miss. Like, how many top 10 picks does he have to miss on? How many more chances is this guy going to get?
Look, man, the draft is a 50-50 proposition in the first round.
Even when you're drafted in the top 10?
Even when you're, and look, Kim Diche was at the bottom.
No,
of the
but
first
Cooper
round.
was in the top 10. Rosen was 10.
Look, sometimes, with Rosen, the only reason they moved on from Rosen because they felt like they had an upgrade in Kyler Murray. And when you get a new head coach typically gets to pick the guy that he wants for his quarterback. So he opted for Kyler Murray over Josh Rosen. I'm still a believer and think that Josh Rosen has an opportunity to be a solid quarterback in this league. But when it comes back to Kyler Murray, man, we're judging off 4-5 drives that we've seen him.
He's judging.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
No, that's what you do.
That's what we do.
That's what you do.
No, we can't sit here and wait for his career to play out and then come back and then have a conversation.
It's the
We're going to talk
preseason.
about it as it goes forward.
I mean, the
and you just
preseason,
know it.
Rob.
Had he had a big night, you would be here, Bucky, going crazy.
I would
Yeah,
be.
and Bucky, I want to add, you said the word great earlier about Kyler Murray. You think he's going to be...
No,
Well, I think
he said generational talent.
generational talent. He is going to be a great one. I think he's going to be a great one because, look, if we go and we look at what Baker Mayfield has been able to do in this league, you can go to Oklahoma and say that Kyler Murray was a better player. He produced better numbers.
Baker
He
Mayfield
had
hold on.
46 starts in college. Murray had
Let the man
Oh, hey, man.
finish.
Sam Darnold only had 26 or 27
They're
starts.
different
when he came.
quarterbacks, totally.
How?
Different systems, different division,
Look,
conferences.
and I would go on record and say that I thought that Kyler Murray was a better prospect coming out than Sam Darnold. Yes.
Wow.
I believe that because what Kyler Murray offers all the arm talent, all the pocket passing skills, plus the running skills, plus the other stuff that he can do when it breaks down. I can't say that Sam Darnold can do that. And we saw Sam Darnold last year. He got better after they sat him down. And then he reset and had an opportunity to play. And then what did the Jets do? Oh, let's go get Le'Veon Bell. Let's go upgrade the people around him. This is a longer process. It's not, hey, we got the quarterback, everything is fixed. They got to put the pieces around.
Only thing I don't get is other than the Cardinals and Kingsbury, nobody else in the top we're going to touch the guy you say is a generational.
Who was taking him in the top 10?
Who else would have taken him other than?
He was the top quarterback in the draft class. Like, there was nobody else that was ranked ahead of him.
I think some people had Haskins as number one.
Well, look, I believe that Haskins should have been up there, but that's another conversation.
Okay.
But Kyler Murray, Haskins, Kyler Murray would have been the guy to go. When we polled executives, he was the guy at the top because he is a unique talent, a unique playmaker. And as the NFL continues to morph into college football and we see more Saturday concepts, he is actually the gateway to more of these athletic quarterbacks entering the league.
And we always talk about how, or I should say, you keep highlighting how it will be detrimental to Kyler's success because he's surrounded with such a bad team and because he's going to have to endure so much. it also can help as an incentive for him moving forward, something that he can look at the film and say, you know what, I learned this from last year. Because we were so bad every single week, from week to week, there was something to build upon. And so it will teach him what he can do, what he can't do, what works, what doesn't work. It will be a learning experience for him this entire season as he continues to progress. We all know that and understand that. But to sit here and try to make it seem like he's not going to be a special player,
I didn't say
it's
that.
just not.
I'm just telling you what, I saw.
You said you seen Pop Warner players that are either taller or better or whatever. I mean, you took a shot.
All I'm saying is I watched last night. It wouldn't have made me go online to buy season tickets for the Cardinals.
Yeah, so
just
short
looking
term,
at that.
you're not buying Kyler Murray.
I'm not.
Long term.
He's a show-me player to me. I will have to be convinced in watching him that he is that guy.
Rob.
People have been trying to tell me that Steph Curry's that guy forever.
He is already that guy.
Not that guy.
Stop it.
And what I mean by that is, no, don't look at me like that, Greg. Steph Curry's a great player, but when you ask him to make a shot when it matters, we haven't seen him be able to make that shot.
I mean, like I kind of lean on this.
No, so-
You
or
know I'm
the
right.
Steph Curry
Bucky,
part.
don't.
I lean.
Bucky,
I'm with you on the
know.
Steph Curry
We're not
thing.
gonna-
They're different.
Tell me one player that gets drafted that we don't say, oh, he has to show me.
No, I get that.
Okay, so
there are
we're
other-
gonna
but
use
there are
that
other
every time.
circumstances because he's so unique, because he's so small, because we just don't know if it transfers over. There have been a lot of guys who have had great college careers who couldn't make the transition. Can you at least give
And
me
there's
that?
been a lot of guys.
I can give you that. I don't think
Okay.
he's one of those.
All right, but I'm just saying.
But there's
so it's
also
not automatic.
Rob, but there's also been a lot of guys who've had great, outstanding college careers and did nothing in the pros. What do you say to that?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Wait, so Bucky, just to be clear, you're on Kyler long-term over Darnold. Are you on Kyler over Baker as well?
No, but I think this. I think here's the thing when you look at the Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray comparison. Same situation at Oklahoma, same offense. We saw how Baker was able to go from Oklahoma, come right into the league and light it up. We're talking about a more explosive athlete, a more dynamic playmaker, a guy who is comparable as a passer. Why would I not believe that Kyler Murray can make the same transition that Baker Mayfield did?
That's a fair question. I'm not as bullish as you are, but thank you, Bucky. Great stuff. Listen, Sam Darnold, now that's a guy who looked great last night. He looked phenomenal. He is a generational talent. We'll be talking about Sam Darnold next here on the show.
No mercy.
Time to talk about my Jets, Jets. Yes. Sam Darnold lived up to the high praise he got from Joe Namath and Tony Romo earlier this week. Darnold was 5 for 7 for 46 yards, led the Jets on a 66-yard TD drive. And, folks, Chris Collinsworth, if you remember this week, he mentioned the other AFC East star QB, Tom Brady, is on the decline physically. Now, Rob Parker, we've got a difficult question here. Who will have a better season statistically, Brady or Sam Darnold?
I think it's going to be Sam Darnold. I know people in Boston are like, well, that's the hour. Of course he's going to say that. Let's just be honest with the numbers, especially in the second half of last season for Tom Brady. He had 9 touchdowns, 4 picks. Quarterback rating went down. He just didn't play that well, and we saw the Super Bowl. I think Sam Darnold's on the uptick, especially with Le'Veon Bell. I think that's going to be what puts him to that next level. Greg, you talked about it, adding other good players around a young quarterback, and I think Le'Veon's going to help big time.
I don't think you're far off. I just can't go as far as saying he's going to be better than Tom Brady. That's just,
statistically you
that
could say
just
that.
can't come out of my mouth. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to even allow myself to say something as foolish as that. When I look at Sam Darnold, do I see up-and-coming talent? Of course. The drives that I've seen, specifically last night, I can point to one throw he made to one of his guys on the sideline where he was completely covered, smothered by a defender, but he had the ability to throw it as more, not even a back shoulder, but to stop his receiver with the ball. Quarterbacks that are taking the next step make throws like what we just saw. And so when I see Sam Darnold, do I think he's going to have a good year? I do, because you are adding pieces around him, because this is an up-and-coming young Jets team. But to say that he's going to outperform that guy that
Statistically.
has
He's not-
won that division year after year after year.
All
But
good
those are
things
two
come to
different
an
things,
end.
Greg. Two different things. Winning a division
I understand
and
exact-
stats.
I
Because
understand what you're saying. I said outperform to say that he's going to outperform that guy.
I don't need to
Not gonna happen.
I don't need to give Rob Parker any ammo. But if you want to buy into this Chris Collinsworth, Brady in the decline, two names that he's going to miss badly this year. Josh Gordon, who was really good in limited time with them last year. He's now being replaced basically by a rookie wide receiver, the kid from Arizona State, N'Keal Harry. And then Rob Gronkowski is retired. I don't think we can underestimate how impactful Gronk is as a safety valve for Brady. They've been playing together for, close to a decade. They know each other well. Gronkowski missed 33 games during his time with Brady. Tom Brady's passer rating went from 103 down to 88. Now you remove Gronk entirely from the equation. I don't even know who their starting tight end is.
And you know what? They had like 9 guys in camp.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Brady's stats are going to dip. I'm not out here saying it's doom and gloom for Brady. They're going to be a Super Bowl contender, probably in the Super Bowl. But his stats are not going to be very good. Meanwhile, we got Sam Darnold paired with Adam Gase, an offensive-minded coach who led Peyton Manning to greatness in Denver. Jamison Crowder in the slot, Le'Veon Bell. Darnold, as Rob said, going up. Brady, I'm not saying he's
down,
in the decline.
but he is
I'm going to
trending
just
down.
say he's like going a little.
trending
it's
down.
No.
This way.
There's no way. That's a little.
Greg,
over
why
the top.
can't you let it go? You know, guys fall off.
I'm not
Seasons
saying,
in, careers in.
I was in agreement that he's in a decline.
Okay.
I was in agreement with that, but his decline is ever so slow to where he's still able to win Super Bowls.
He didn't win the Super Bowl. He was a part of the team.
He didn't win. He didn't win the Super Bowl. I don't know what it means to win a Super Bowl then.
What?
If he was on the team that won the Super Bowl,
Did he get a ring?
and he didn't win,
Did he get a ring?
I don't
But you
understand
know what
how
I'm
that works.
saying. He
I
didn't
don't
play-
know what you're
He
saying.
didn't play that well last year. Can you admit that in the Super? Did he play well in the Super Bowl?
Don't try to get me to side with you, Rob. It's not going to
It's
happen.
not going to work. Just to put a button on it, Sam Darnold, I think 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns is not crazy over a 16-game body of work. All right, folks. Should DeMarcus Cousins just hang it up?
That's
next.
No mercy.
Time for our final topic of the day. Injuries continue to plague DeMarcus Cousins. Boogie tore his ACL yesterday while training in Vegas. He's already suffered an Achilles tear and a quadriceps tear in the past 2 years. Whether or not Boogie will be available at all for the Lakers this year is unknown. Rob, it's sad to say, but does Cousins need to hang it up at this point after his third major leg injury?
Before I say that, you know, last year in the playoffs, I said, no KD, no title, no Boogie, no title for Laker fans. I want you to know that. But here it is. No, he should not hang it up. He's only 29. He should try to bounce back. I mean, it's a devastating blow. This was a really good guy who was headed to the Hall of Fame or had Hall of Fame numbers prior to him leaving Sacramento and being hurt. And this is a shame. It really is, Greg.
Yeah, he's not going to hang it up. That's my hope. I know that's pretty much not his mental space right now. It's about recovering. But when you have had the type of career that he's had, the start, I mean, he was phenomenal to start in Sacramento and then to be riddled with injury. I just hope that he can get over this hump and get back to somewhat what he was in Sacramento because he's, as you mentioned, 29 years old. He has a lot still left in the tank.
And think about this. He was on the verge before the Kings traded him. He was up for a $200 million deal and then got dealt to New Orleans and whatnot. And look at what's happened since. Yeah. He was trying to reestablish himself. That's why I thought the Laker move made sense. The Lakers are trying to win a championship. If Boogie came here, played well, and was a part of it, then other teams might look at him and go, all right, he's back. And now here we go.
America loves a good redemptive story. So I think we all hope Boogie Cousins comes back. He should definitely not retire. But there are some concerns with the age, 29, coming off the injuries, and the weight issue. You know, he's 270 pounds or more. That can be a challenge. I'm hopeful that Boogie will be back some point in 2 years.
Yeah, but you look at, again, if we want to look at history, he got hurt, he ruptured his Achilles, he fought back, he became this likable guy. The guys in the locker room love Boogie Cousins. It's not a matter of will he have encouraging guys around him? Will he have supporting cast? It's just, can he continue to sustain the mental space that's necessary for him to overcome another potential season-ending injury?
And I think there's a good chance he gets a ring here with the Lakers.
Would
If
you
LeBron
stop?
and Anthony Davis
Stop
can
it.
get DeMarcus. What do you mean stop it?
They're not winning a title.
They-
The Clippers are winning the title. I can't even believe you're bringing
The Lakers
this up.
have one of the 5 best odds to win the championship. They've got
I
one of
don't
the
care
best
what the odds
rosters
are. I'm
in
telling
the
you
league.
they're not gonna
The
win a
Lakers have the
championship.
best 1-2 punch in the NBA in LeBron and Anthony
You're just
Davis.
jumping on the Clipper bandwagon just because they got 2 guys.
I like what they did a year ago.
But
all
because
right?
they got these 2
And
guys.
they add this to the team.
Were you on their bandwagon last year?
Yes.
No, you were not.
They went to Golden State and won 2 road
You never
games.
talked about the Clippers.
Yeah, we did once in a while.
No, you did.
All right, that'll be it for us. It's been a phenomenal week. Skip, Shannon, and Jenny are back Monday morning
Good.
at 9:30 Eastern. I know you guys will be excited.
No mercy.
Thank you for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Keep an eye out for the weekend edition of the podcast tomorrow morning, featuring this week's best segments. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Fox Sports. One of one.